Welcome back, Omnibuzz Cafe. My name's Kevin. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If Ed Brubaker put out a book called This is Garbage and all of the pages are blank, I'd probably still buy it. I just finished reading Friday, the deluxe oversized hardcover edition by Ed Brubaker, art by Marcos Martín, and coloring by Munsa Vicente, and I absolutely loved it. Grab a cup of coffee and let's check out this book. All right, here we have Friday, the complete series by Ed Brubaker, art by Marcos Martín, and coloring by Munsa Vicente. This is the Image Deluxe Oversized Hardcover. It's over 300 pages. I didn't do my homework to know exactly how many pages it was, but let's have a look at it. And I want to start off by saying I love books with maps, and I think there are not enough comic books with maps. This is on the inside and the back, I believe, as well. Really cool to have a map in here, and not something that you need to reference throughout the story, but kind of cool to, occasionally just to understand the place. But let's get into it. So, opening splash page of chapter/issue 1, The Girls in the Trees, and just right off the bat, absolutely gorgeous. I think it's snowing throughout this entire thing, and it just really sets the tone for this city called, what's it called? Kings Hill. So we start off, we meet this character whose name is Lancelot Jones, and he's a young man, 18, 19, 20 years old, and he is the kind of the town's, I don't want to say nerd, but the kind of the town nerd. He's the smartest kid in school. I think they mentioned that he's like 2 grades above his actual grade level. But he is really into detective work, and he helps the local sheriff solve crimes. Get some more of this fantastic artwork here. But the main character of this story is Friday Fitzhugh. And Friday is childhood best friends with Lancelot Jones. They meet in young childhood and quickly become best friends. But as they get older and Friday goes off to college, they kind of grow apart. But she's coming home for from her first college visit, and her buddy Lancelot Jones is in the middle of investigating something that's going on in King's Landing. And she ends up joining the hunt, kind of as she would have in her youth. And something's going on, but we learn a little bit more about Friday and Lancelot's background, and specifically what happened that kind of broke up the friendship. So in this issue, we learn about how the friendship started, how they met, and then what happened the night that Friday went off to college. Really cool artwork. I think each issue has this kind of non-traditional layout, just like huge sweeping, not panels, but just a full splash kind of explaining the story. But here's a better image of Friday, and they have this clubhouse underneath this tree out in the woods. And let's go, since we can, and since I mentioned it. So the woods is out here, and this is the Kingswood Forest. And Lance and Friday, their detective headquarters, is out there. So she's going to go out there and kind of approach him. And this is the first time they'll have a one-on-one conversation since something kind of fairly awkward happened. Throughout the first half of the story, we get some kind of hints at some fantasy, like dream world elements of this. But outside of that, really familiar beats from an Ed Brubaker book, right? This is, about crime, solving crime. But again, we learn more and more about Friday, and we learn just how much of a badass she actually is. And we'll get to some panels here later on that I absolutely loved. I'm going to try to keep this one fairly spoiler light because this is so new, but another example of just this beautiful artwork. Absolutely love this. This felt warm. This felt cozy. It felt like a city I've been to, and it felt like these people really knew their city and knew their neighbors. So something happens to her friend Lancelot, and he's kind of out of the picture. I think at this point he's presumed dead. And Friday, obviously devastated by this. She grew up with Lancelot, and the thought of him not being around anymore is really devastating to her. So in this issue, we learn a little bit more about the city and other people, and some more background story that's really going to come to life as we get through this. But at some point throughout this, Friday decides she needs to investigate what the hell happened. So she goes out to the lighthouse where Lancelot lived with his father. His mother had passed away years ago. And I guess I have to give away a little bit. She gets a package from the grave, a posthumous Christmas gift, and it's Lancelot's casebook. And it almost seems like he was preparing Friday for the events of his possible death. And so now she's going through the crimes that he was working on over the past few months while she was away at college. And they start to maybe connect a little bit. And Friday is going around more and more, investigating some of these past things and some of the people involved in them. And when we get near this halfway point, like I said early on in the book, we're introduced to the possibility of some fantasy elements or some kind of monsters or something else that makes this world a little bit more. And Friday stumbles upon, you know, some kind of monsters, some kind of witchcraft or something that's happened. Here's one of those panels that I wanted to show you. She's fighting this monster, and the monster attacks her, and she's got a lighter from her cigarettes, and then she found a bottle of Aquanet and decides she's going to take care of business. Love this panel. This entire page was amazing. And in the back of the book, Ed Brubaker talks about when he got the initial artwork back and what he thought about this, and it blew his mind. So now, kind of at this halfway point, like I said, there's this, we start getting these fantasy elements to it. And it was kind of a jarring twist to this tale because it was something that you don't generally see in an Ed Brubaker story. But as jarring as it was, I was sucked into this. I read this in two sitting down reading sessions, first issue in one night, and the rest of it the next morning. I could not put this down. So as we delve further into this world and learn more about this, possible witchcraft or these fantastical monsters that exist in this city and some of the history of why they exist and how long they've existed in this city, this is still at its core a coming of age story about Friday and Lancelot and their detective work. They're aspiring detectives. And so that's something I think, revolving crime, that's where Ed Brubaker really shines. And I'm going to try not to give away too much as we get to the end of this, but another, 2-page panel that's just absolutely gorgeous. I can't talk enough about how striking this artwork was. But yeah, I don't want to give away too much of the ending here, so we'll try to thumb through some of the rest of it. But absolutely beautiful story. Like I said at the end, there's some words by Marcos Martín, who did the coloring, he did the art, and Ed Brubaker talking about this story and why he wanted to write this specific story. And we get, your standard extras, sketchbook, kind of some early on views on what Friday might look like, what Lancelot might look like. He kind of looks like a Harry Potter type character to me. It's kind of what I felt like throughout the story. Sheriff Bixby, Friday's mom, and her mom's lover, who she calls her aunt. priests and then some of these monsters and then just some more layout of the cities. But and then a script. But yeah, this was Friday. Let's see here, 300 some with the extras, 360. So this is probably like 340 pages long. So 9 issues. I think that'll give you a glimpse at how long this book actually was. But that's Friday. Ed Brubaker, Marcos Martín, Musa Vicente. So, like I said, I really enjoyed this. I'm a big Ed Brubaker fan. It had a lot of elements that were very Ed Brubaker, detective, noir story. And then we had that kind of jarring shift into more of a fantasy world that I really didn't expect, but he made it work overall. The art by Marcos Martin, I think is how you say it, was fantastic, absolutely beautiful artwork on this story, and Brubaker's work with Sean Phillips is phenomenal, and absolutely love it. But it's cool to see him work with a different artist. It's cool to see Brubaker with a different tone to his stories. But Marcos Martin, I definitely want to check out more of his work. As I was reading this, and let me know in the comments if you agree, I got really strong Tim Sale vibes, like really strong Tim Sale vibes. But perfect for the story. I really like the design of the characters. The coloring by, I'm going to get this wrong too, Musa Vicente was awesome. The tones that they used for this book really made the city of, what was the name of the city? Kings Hill felt real, felt lived in, felt like these people knew this place and had been kind of through every inch of that forest, like the characters had said. Really happy I picked this up. I read this super fast. I think I read the first issue or chapter 2 nights ago, and then yesterday in one sitting crushed the rest of it. It's 9 issues or chapters, but it's like over 300 pages. So these are considerably longer than a traditional comic book issue. And I think especially the last issue of this story or last chapter of this story was very long. The extras in here were really cool. We had some Ed Brubaker and Marcos Martin, just kind of them writing about the process of the story. We had some the making of type things, and then just background art and character design. Really like this. Go pick up Friday by Ed Brubaker. You can still get this just about anywhere. It was fantastic. You're going to love it. Hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought about this, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks.
If you're looking for great deals on collected edition comics or manga, we recommend shopping at panelboundcomics.com. They offer free shipping on orders over $30, plus bundle discounts to help you save even more. And if you're shopping from Europe or the UK, comicsbugle.com offers free EU shipping and a rewards program for regular buyers. Don't forget to use our discount codes at checkout.